This should come as no surprise, but Donald Trump's dismantling of the Department of Education will particularly impact communities of color. On Thursday, the Congressional Black Caucus strongly condemned Trump's executive order, saying the move will hurt the nation's public school system. According to the NAACP, black students are twice as likely as their white peers to be in inadequately funded school districts. And NAACP President and CEO Derrick Johnson joins us now.
Mr. Johnson, it's a pleasure to have you this morning. Look, the dismantling of the institutions around us, from healthcare to education, are part of an ongoing pattern that not only sort of plays into the disruption side of this, but what is intriguing to me is how little focus there is on the impact of that disruption. Something the NAACP is paying particular attention to, especially in the education space, noting in some of the statistics on black and Latino students. When you look at this breakdown, black students attend 76% of non-white schools, Latinos 75% of non-white schools. Talk about that segregation that is a part of this as well, and how this is going to impact this generation, let alone the future generation if all of this stands up. But the impact it's having right now on this generation of students.
You know, what we are witnessing is the ongoing fight to comply with the Brown Decree. But it goes beyond Brown versus Board of Education. It is a redefinition of the role of government. It is identifying those who people see should have access and those who should not. In the southern states alone, if you begin to look at the demographics below the age 18, you're seeing an emerging browning and blacking of America. And so for high wealth individuals, they don't want to pay taxes for systems that they don't see a benefit for their particular family and community, their communities. But unfortunately, this goes well beyond just the black community. In Alabama in 1965, when you went to the polls to vote, white folks will go vote, and they voted on symbols because the illiteracy rate of white Alabamians at the time was so high they could not read a ballot. If we continue down this road, it's not only going to have a disastrous impact on African Americans and Latino, it's going to have a disastrous impact on working class whites. And unfortunately, they're using the tools of race to distract as they redefine the role of government for everybody.
I want you to take a listen to our colleague Garrett Haake talking with Linda McMahon, the secretary of what for now is the Department of Education.
Between this order and the
about the limits. Here you go.
Between this order and the cuts you've already made, are you kind of bumping up against the limits of what you can do without Congress at this point?
No. We are looking at what other things we can transfer that might not need congressional approval at this point. And we're going through and looking at them to determine what they are.
Okay, so she's talking about Pell, among other things. They're going to offshore to other agencies. Fundamentally, they need congressional approval if they want to close the Department of Education. What is your message to Congress about the role that they are now positioned to play in this entire debacle?
Get a spine, fight. I mean, people want to see a fight, and to do away with a congressionally authorized agency through executive order, first is illegal, but folks around the country want to see a fight. I was at a town hall meeting just recently, and the crowd was so charged, not because of everything that's taking place alone. They're charged because they want to feel like someone is fighting for them, voicing some of the concerns. And so as we look at this agency being targeted by the administration, they want to see congressional members fight and not capitulate like we just seen in the Senate when it came to the continuing resolution around the budget.
President Johnson, I'm just kind of like, I'm rarely without words, but it just seems as though that I think I heard a voter describe this the other day at a town hall that Ali Vitale covered, that our elected officials are bringing, Democratic elected officials are bringing a pillow to a gunfight, if you will. What is your message to folks that are seeing everything that's happening and they're like, okay, well, there's just nothing we can do. It's just too much. It feels overwhelming for people, and they're concerned not just about their children as it relates to the Department of Education, but they're concerned about our health. They're concerned about their wallets and our pockets, their ability to make money, given what's happening with the economy. What's your message to folks? How is the NAACP engaging communities?
Let's be clear. It's not only the elected officials, it's civil rights organizations, it's social justice organizations. Everyone has been caught flat-footed. No one thought that this level of attack would be here, but we've seen this before, and there's going to be some harm. And so we have to gear up and be in the fight that we're actually in and not the fight we think we're in. The fight we're actually in goes back to 1932 New Deal policies and the role of government and the redefining of the government when John Birch Society and that elite class, and they later connected with William F. Buckley and an intellectual class, and then they hooked up with George Wallace and they had a populist movement, and now they created the Heritage Foundations, Cato Institute, Enterprise, and all of the think tanks in 80. Then they created ALEC, all of which was around trying to push back against that original set of policies to redefine the role of government by taxing those ultra wealthy. This is not just a civil rights fight. This is not just a populist movement or economic fight. This is a fight around the definition concerning the role of government and how we show up as a nation. This is a values fight. And we all need to recalibrate and understand the fight we're in. They don't give a damn about the Constitution. They only care about their bottom line.
President Johnson, you have just in this moment crystallized, and I'm going to give you the last word on this point. A conversation I was having with a real dear buddy of mine. I'm just going to read just a little bit because I just can't believe how you put this. He said to me, "I feel we are at the end of the second Reconstruction, 1964 to 2024. Jim Crow has left the South and now roams the country as his grandson, James E. Crow, Esquire. The segregationists played the long game while we were asleep at the wheel."
Absolutely. You think about it, race is a tool, gender is a tool, sexual orientation is a tool. The real question is around power, domination, and control. So when you think about the first Reconstruction, the period that followed that is called redemption, where they sought to redeem the control and power in those southern states. Now we're in a period of what's called redemption of all 50 states in a global economy where they really don't care about anybody other than their checkbook. And so they will use working poor whites and their emotions to distract them long enough to take their Social Security, to take their Medicaid. You think about Medicaid. Medicaid is the #1 funder for nursing homes. They don't care about kicking their grandparents out of nursing homes. They don't care about taking people being sick. They want to privatize all of the research and then around medicines. So at the end of the day, we all have to recognize the fight we're in. This is not a black and white fight. This is a fight around the definition and the role of government and those who will have and those who will not have.
The doors of the church are open. Is there one?
Yeah, there better be more than one because he just checked all the boxes. Derek Johnson, President NAACP, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.